हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादः शंकरं लोकशंकरं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। शंकरं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरं भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। Hari Om, Hari Om. We shall begin with the Dhyana Shloka of Shri Dakshinamurty Stotram. Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam Varshishthante Vasatrishganehi Avrutam Brahmanishthaihi आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीढे। वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णं सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरोर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्नसंशयाः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां विषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। बोले श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हरि ओम हरि ओम। We have been studying this beautiful stotram, Shri Dakshinamurty Stotram, written by Bhagwan Shri Adi Shankaracharya ji. In these 10 shlokas, Bhagwan gives the very gist of the teachings of Vedanta. He does namaskar to Shri Dakshinamurty, who is his own teacher. His teacher, our teacher, is not different from Shri Dakshinamurty Bhagwan. A teacher is one who has realized his own true self, one who has done sakshatkar, direct experience of one's own self, is the teacher. And what is this self? Is advayam, is one without a second. The self is one only. Other than the self, nothing is there. Everything is the self alone. That self is called Atma or is called Brahma, is of the nature of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Ekameva Advitiyam. It is one. So what about this world? This world is also the expression of the self only. The world is not different from the self. So an enlightened person looks at this world within his own self, just as we see the reflection of some objects in the mirror. The reflection exists in the mirror without bringing any change in the mirror. Similarly, without bringing any change in the supreme nature of the self, the world appears in that self. And how does the world appear? Because of the power of the self alone, which is called Maya. So, Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutam Yatha Nidraya. So, due to Maya, the world appears to be born, and world appears to be born outside. So, Mayaya Bahihi Iva Udbhutam Iva. That word Iva is very important. In Sanskrit, each and every word plays a very important role, especially in the writings of Bhagwan Shri Adi Shankaracharya. He doesn't use any words just like that. So here when he says Mayaya, through Maya, Bahihi Iva. Iva means as though created and as though outside. Bahihi Iva and Udbhutam Iva. So there is nothing new created. There is no thing which is other than Atma which is created. Therefore, it is said that it is as though created. Just like when we have gold ornaments, though we say that all these ornaments are made from gold, we use those language, But really speaking, nothing is made from gold, because there is nothing other than gold. Gold alone is there, which we call ornaments. Similarly, nothing other than the self is created. What we call the world is the self alone. It is not different from the self. Therefore, the term Udbhutam Iva is used. And also, it appears as though it is outside. Bahi Iva. I experience myself here in this body, and I experience the world as though created outside me. So this is the great power of that of Atma, which is called that Maya, which makes me experience myself as the seer of this world, and also makes me experience the world as though it is outside. So all this is the play of Maya. So Mayaya Bahihi Iva Udbhutam Yatha Nidraya. To make us understand, Bhagwan gives example of our dream. In our dream also the whole world gets created. And in our dream we are also created as though. So we create our own self in our dream, which is totally different from the waking self. In the waking, I may not be able to even walk properly, but in the dream, I run the marathon, a race, and even win it. So I create myself, and I create the world also, which I experience in my dream. So how do I create this? By my own power, which is at a smaller scale is my mind. So with the help of my mind, I project myself and I project a world in my dream. But there is nothing really created. There are no mountains, there are no rivers, there are no people. Nothing is really actually there in the dream. But it is experienced. So when I wake up, I find myself, I come to know that everything, the whole world was within me only. So that is the great power of this supreme reality called Maya. This Maya is also called Prakriti, nature. It is the very nature of that supreme Brahma. Maya is not different from Brahma. Maya is not non-existent. Maya is as real as Brahma because it is the Shakti of Brahma. It is the power. So it's the most mysterious nature of that Supreme. So more about this Maya is now being revealed in the next verse, verse number 2. So let us chant verse number 2. बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः माया कल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रे कृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महान् योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये. Once more. बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महा योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदम् श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये. तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये. तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये. This line is repeated in almost all the shlokas except the last shloka. कि श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम. My namaskar to that Guru Murti, my Guru. Guru is the same supreme reality only, but who is appearing in the form of a teacher in my presence. So is the Guru Murti, the same supreme reality, is appearing in front of me as my teacher, out of his compassion to bless me, to make me get rid of my Avidya, to make me free from this samsara, to make me free of all the sufferings. That supreme reality, out of his own compassion, appears in our life as our teacher. Without him teaching us, we will not be able to become free of this samsara. So however much we do namaskar and express our gratitude to our teacher, it is always less. We can never repay or become free of the death of our teacher. Nothing can be compared to the knowledge which is imparted by the teacher. Whatever we offer, even as Guru Dakshina, is just our expression of our gratitude and not as a payment or something like that. So Shri Gurumurtaye Namaha Idam. And who is Gurumurti? Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Who is Sakshat that Dakshinamurti? Bhagwan only. Bhagwan alone takes a form of a teacher. And that is the beauty. Because that Supreme Brahma, with his power of this Maya, and this power is achintya. Achintya means incomprehensible and infinite. Anything is possible for that supreme reality. That is the great power. So out of that power only, that supreme can manifest in variety of forms. Therefore, we have in our culture the supreme expressing as not only as this world, but also as so many different devatas whom we can worship. Because whoever we worship, we are worshipping that supreme. Even a single atom, if we worship, it reaches that supreme Brahma alone. Akashat patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram Sarvadeva Namaskaram Keshavam Pratigachati. Just as the water when it falls, when it rains, then each and every drop which falls on earth finally reaches the ocean. Similarly, whoever we do namaskar, that namaskar finally reaches that supreme Brahma alone. So therefore, here the namaskar is done to Dakshinamurty Bhagwan. And what is the greatness of Dakshinamurti? He has not only recognized and realized his own self, but he has total mastery over the power of his own self. The power which we call Maya or Prakriti is wielded by that Ishvara alone. So here Ishvara as Dakshinamurti is the one who wields this power. In Gita also Bhagavan says that by my mere presence, my power projects this world. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. The whole world gets projected by my power only, because of my power. It gets projected, it is sustained, and it gets dissolved. Like an image in a mirror, or like some video we see in our mobile. Mobile is kept at one place, totally free from all activities. Then we pick it up, switch it on, and we pick up one video and then see it. So like a miracle, the whole world comes in front of us. We see the mountains, we see the rivers, we see people, we see sound, music. And from where all this has come? From that mobile itself, from that chip, from the stored information, the whole world comes out. It plays, and then it just merges back into it. It just disappears. Where does the world disappear? It disappears into that mobile. In the same way, that Supreme Brahma, from him only the world emerges, it is sustained, and again it merges back. And this play goes on and on and on. In Bhagavad Gita also Bhagavan says to Arjuna, who was grief-stricken when he was in the battlefield. The war was about to begin, and he was grieving. He was grieving in advance for all those people who will die in the battlefield. And Bhagavan said, there is no need for you to grieve. Ashochanan vashochastvam prajnavadanscha bhashase gatasuna gatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. A wise person doesn't grieve for anyone. He doesn't grieve for those who are alive and for those who are dead. Because for the wise person, there is no one who is born and no one dies. Just like the video in our mobile, when we see the video, we are so happy. And when it just disappears, we don't cry. Because we know it is not non-existent. It is existing. But it is existing as that mobile itself. And again it will arise when the time comes. In the same way, a wise person knows that all this beings who are born, even if they die, they will be born again. Gita Bhagwan says, कि जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवम janma mritasya cha. That one who is born is sure to die, and one who is dead will be born again. And that is the very nature of this world. अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना. Bhagavan says, in the beginning, all these people who are assembled here in the battlefield, they were avyakta, they were unmanifest. Not only they, but this whole world was unmanifest. And now it has become manifest. And again, everyone and everything will become unmanifest. That is how it is. So there is no need to grieve. If you understand the nature of things, you will not grieve. Because the very nature of this world, which is seen, is constantly change. But what is this world? This world is nothing but expression of Bhagavan's Maya. And what is Maya? Maya is the Shakti of Bhagavan. And what is Bhagavan's relationship with this Maya? Maya is not different from Bhagavan. Mama Maya, Bhagavan says, my Maya. Maya is one with Bhagavan. See, whatever I teach is in tune with what Shankaracharya has written in his Bhashya. And also it is in tune with all the Upanishads. And as I have learned from my own teacher. But many Vedanti, they speak differently. They talk differently about Maya, they talk differently about Avidya. So when you listen to me, please listen very carefully. Because 90 or 95% people who talk on Vedanta, they talk differently. There's a lot of misunderstanding about Maya, Vidya, Jagat, Ishvara, Jiva, Bandhan, Moksha. Everything is understood differently. And in Kali Yuga, we are open to this information from everywhere. So we listen to so many different teachers. We read so many different types of books. And we get confused also. So listen very carefully. So Maya is not asat. Maya is not non-existent. Many teachers, they say Maya is non-existent. Many say that it is, one cannot say about Maya whether it is Sat or Asat. That is also not what is said by Shankaracharya ji. He says Maya is the Shakti of that Supreme Brahma and not different from Brahma. And it is anirvachaniyam. It is indescribable because at the same time it can be described from the standpoint of the cause, and it can also be described from the standpoint of effect. For example, this pot, which is made of clay. So this pot can be called a pot, or this pot can be called clay also. So from the standpoint of from the cause, it is clay, and from the standpoint of its effect, it is pot. Similarly, Maya, from the standpoint of its essential nature, it is Brahma. But from its expression, it is this world. So what is this strange, this Maya, and how it creates this world? So here in this shloka, Bhagavan says, कि बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राग्निर्विकल्पं पुनः. He says, कि idam jagat, this jagat which you see, we have seen last time also, jagat which is made up of 24 parts, this jagat which we experience, I am the experiencer, and all that I experience different from me is what is called jagat. So I get separated from the jagat in my sushupti avastha totally, but in the waking and dream, I get identified with some portion of the jagat also. So the jagat which I experience in front of me, idam jagat, which is experienced as idam, this. This jagat which is made up of different parts having different names and different forms. Though the elements are only 5, from these 5 elements, variety of objects are seen in this world. Most amazing. We are living on this earth. On this earth itself, there are a variety of things, natural, beautiful things, mountains, rivers, lakes, ponds, streams, trees, birds, animals. But if we see in the whole vast cosmos, there are so many, in our galaxy itself, in our solar system itself, there are so many planets and so many moons. Every moon is different. So many different objects are there, the comets and meteorites and asteroids, and so many things are there. Then in the galaxy, we have billions of stars and so many planets. Oh, you can't imagine the vastness. It's infinite. So this world which is seen with so many variety of names and form, was it like this all the time? The scripture says no. Once upon a time, the world with all these names and forms and variety was not there. Not there means it was not manifest. It was all unmanifest. Or the entire world once upon a time means many years ago. According to our Shastra, the creation has taken place, this creation, present creation, was projected 50 years ago. 50 years of Brahmaji. 50 years of Brahmaji. One day of Brahmaji equal to 2000 Chaturyugas. One Chaturyuga equal to 43 lakh 20,000 years. So when 50 years ago, Brahmaji is 50 years ago, means many years ago. According to modern science calculation, it comes to about 14 billion years ago. And according to Vedantic calculation also, roughly, more or less, I think, same number. The present world got projected. But what was there before that? Before that, it was avyakta, it was nirvikalpa, it was unmanifest, it was lying as that supreme reality alone. In the Upanishad it is said, Sadeva Soumya idam agra asit. In Chandogya Upanishad, Ki idam agra, before this manifestation, the world was Sat alone. Just like this pot. This pot was not existing all the time. Once upon a time, the pot was not there. So what was there? Clay was there. The pot was existing as clay. Similarly, this world, once upon a time, it was not there. What was there? It was existing as Sat. Sat means as Brahma. Even now it is Brahma. But Brahma along with names and forms. But once upon a time, it was just, can be called only Sat or Brahma. So that is called Nirvikalpa, unmanifest. So that is also again the nature of this Brahma, nature of what you call the expression of his Shakti.